Hi everyone, my name is Robert Coit, and thank you so much for watching Eating Healthy with Robert Coit. Today we're going to be talking about the Mediterranean diets, or simply the Mediterranean lifestyle. So I really want to talk about this because it's growing in popularity, and since most of my viewers are older adults and they're in the Portuguese community, the Mediterranean diet can associate with the Portuguese diet almost, since it's almost close to having fish, seafood, berries, having fruits and vegetables, bread. And I think it's really important because maybe some of this information you guys can associate with your lifestyle now or eating behaviors. So I'm going to be talking about who discovered it, who made it popular, what study actually put it on the map. I'm going to be talking about the key components of it, what foods you want to focus on, and also I'm going to be talking about the research behind it. I think it's really important to address all this because I just want to give you guys motivation that it is possible to live a healthy and mindful lifestyle and to live better while you're getting older. So first, I'm going to be talking about who made it and who discovered it. His name is Dr. Ancel Keys. He was an American physiologist or doctor who studied the influence on diets with health, associated with health. So he was really popular in the 1950s when he studied post-World War II and seeing the starvation rates among prisoners and war veterans, and he saw that a lot of them were getting skinnier and skinnier because food was very scarce, which means very low at the time at World War II. And he tried to link starvation and health along with that, but when he got done with that study, he actually wanted to focus on the dietary fats linked to cardiovascular disease or heart disease. So I remember I don't know if you guys remember me talking about heart disease just a few weeks back. I think it's really important to associate this guy because he actually was one of the few people that put the Mediterranean diet on the map. So he actually made a 7-country study, and he studied America, he studied Japan, he studied Greece, he studied the Southern Europe, and he studied the Northern Europe. And he wanted to see there is a large rate of heart attacks in America, and he wanted to kind of associate the diets and see how the diets played on the health. So it was a 25-year study, and it went from 1958 to the late 50s, early 60s to 1980s. And he saw that there was a big risk of heart attacks among Americans, and he wanted to correlate it with the cholesterol levels in your lab values. And so he evaluated 12,763 males ranging from 40 to 59. And it was from the United States, from Northern Europe, Southern Europe, and Japan. So it was very amazing to see and kind of evaluate this because it's actually one of the topics I'm going to be just talking about in Fresno. I'm one of the guest speakers for the Healthy Aging Association, and I wanted to kind of put this on spectrum because I was asked to do this. So when I was doing the study, I saw how amazing the Mediterranean diet or lifestyle and the Japanese lifestyle, and see how much there was not a large prevalence of heart attacks or stroke. So it's amazing to see that it was astonishing. And United States, the Northern Europes, they had far more deaths of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer compared to Southern Europe or Japan. And so Dr. Keys tried to make the correlation. What is it that made it so amazing to see that the Mediterranean diet and the lifestyle in Japan, what do they have that was so different from the Northern Europe and America? So he saw that it was their food and culture, the culture, and their attitude towards food, how much physical activity they had, their age, the cholesterol levels, and their weight. So next I'm going to be talking about how this is so important because these regions there was low incident of heart disease, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, cancer, and I think it's very important to keep this in mind. If you're an older adult who wants to kind of try something new, and you want to talk to a medical professional, talk to your doctor and talk to your registered dietitian about this, because it's very important. And I want to try to put more emphasis, because this is a Portuguese radio station. I do want to help a lot of individuals who are older adults and they're Portuguese. So this is it's very connected to the Portuguese culture too as well, okay? So second, I'm going to be talking about the primary components of the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet is a plant-based diet. It's really heavy on fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and I'm talking about whole grain, not just white bread, but just whole grains. So they have fiber, they have all the vitamins and minerals associated with bread foods, and they have legumes and nuts, and they have a heavy emphasis on those groups. And they have a little limitations on the meats. And I wanted to talk about the main component of it. It's actually olive oil. The olive oil is the main component of the Mediterranean diet. It's used in almost every meal that you will ever see in that area. It doesn't use butter. Butter has high amounts of saturated fat, and olive oil has very low saturated fat and has higher amounts of mono and polyunsaturated fats and omega-3s. So they use olive oil as the main component. Herbs and spices, instead of using salt, they use herbs and spices to flavor their foods and kind of make it pop in your mouth. And they don't use a lot of red meats. They actually limit a few times a month. So if you're eating pork, beef, any type of meat that's really heavy, and that's what I mean by red meats and fat, if they're heavy in fats and they have a lot of protein, that's red meats, essentially. So they limit the amount of red meats to no more than a few times a month. And I think it's really important, because what kind of protein are you going to use? It's really important that there is other sources of protein like fish and poultry. So poultry meaning by birds, very lean in fat, chicken, turkey. We're talking about different birds out there that you can use as meat consumption. Fish is very high in omega-3, mono and polyunsaturated fats. They're high in protein, and that's the main component too as well too, is that it's, instead of red meats, they use a few times of consumption of poultry and fish. And next, if you think about a pyramid, the base of the Mediterranean diet is physical activity and family time. So you see a big focus about food and the meaning of food. In the Baltic countries, Greece, we're talking about the countries in southern Europe, there's a big emphasis on having 2 meals a day with family. Breakfast is one meal that they have with their families. Lunch is usually very small, and they have a nap after, if it's a sunny day. And they have the main meal is actually dinner. Now it's growing to dinner. So they have a lot of enjoyment with their foods with their family. And I don't see that a lot in America. We are too focused on busy. I don't have time for this. I can't make time for my family. I need to make more money for them so they can be provided. Over there, they're more relaxed. They like to enjoy the meals with their friends and family. And I think it's really important to maybe kind of focus that. Instead of eating alone, try to find a family friend or family to eat with. Schedule a day where you can just talk, enjoy your food together, because that is the main purpose of food, is not just enjoy alone. And I put that with my clients. I talk about that all the time. Try to enjoy your food with your family and friends, okay? So they have plenty of exercise, 30 minutes a day. I've put that emphasis on that when I was talking about heart disease and type 2 diabetes. And the most favorite thing about the Mediterranean diet is the moderation of red wine. Red wine is an option. If you choose you want to drink some, have a glass a day. Try and enjoy it in moderation, not having more than 2 glasses, having one per, like maybe at a meal, just 1 meal a day. Shows benefits from there's a type of enzyme in wine that helps with your cardiovascular system. So having red wine can show a little benefit to it, and it's not fully like a wheat grain. It's from grapes, from fermented grapes. Next, I want to talk about the top 10 diseases that you'll see in older adults, and I think it's really important because each one of them is addressed and they show a benefit to it when you actually inherit a Mediterranean diet. So when you talk about heart disease, diabetes, cancer, talk about strokes, they talk about accidents, they talk about Alzheimer's disease, they talk about ammonia. All of those are addressed in the Mediterranean diet and they show benefit to it. Out of all the top 10 diseases that cause death in the world, 9 out of 10 show improvement when you inherit a Mediterranean diet in your diet. Okay? And the only thing that's not addressed is accidents. There's no such thing as I don't think their Mediterranean diet can improve the rate of accidents or decrease the rate of accidents. So that is the only one thing that it doesn't improve on. And next I'm going to be talking about the research behind it. I talked about the founder of it who made it really popular, who showed that there was a big difference when people from the Mediterranean region and their lifestyle and their culture and how they view foods compared to the United States and Northern Europe. And I talked about the key components of it. I talked about the top 10 deaths and how the Mediterranean associates with these top 10. 9 out of 10 of them are associated with the Mediterranean diet and showing improvement into this. So I'm going to be talking about the New York Times, and they put a publication on the New York Times about the Mediterranean diet versus statins to prevent heart disease and strokes. And inside this, they asked a question: how does the Mediterranean diet stack up against statins in preventing heart attacks and stroke? And they saw association with the Mediterranean diet and heart disease and how it lowered the prevention compared to the statin therapy, which lowered the prevention as well too, but it only depended on that medication as well. Only. No physical activity, no change in diets. And they saw that the Mediterranean diet lowered the amounts or the prevalence of heart disease, heart attacks, strokes, and deaths by 30% versus statin therapy, which lowered the prevalence of heart disease, strokes by 44%. So they wanted to make a study about this and seeing how it stacks up. The Mediterranean diet focuses on exercise, family time, high amounts of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes, moderate amounts of chicken, fish, red wine, limitations on red meats, sweets, and pastries. When you have that in mind, you're actually learning a different types of lifestyle. And with the statin therapy, you're not learning anything new. You're depending on medication. So even though it had a 44% reduction in heart attacks, strokes, and deaths, they recommended that you get extra mileage or extra opportunity to live a better life with the Mediterranean diet versus focusing on only statins and you're not learning how to exercise, you're not learning the benefits of the foods. And it's really important that the bottom line, the Mediterranean diet helps if you're taking statins, but overall, if you continue doing that process and slowly taking in the Mediterranean diet in retrospective, you see that there is no need for statins if you can master this, because it teaches a lifestyle change. And the Mediterranean diet is a big thing that helps out. And when it first is a statin therapy lifestyle, it shows more benefit to lowering type 2 diabetes, cancers, compared to only statins, which only improves heart attacks and strokes, okay? So I just talked about 2 research studies from the New York Times and the Harvard Medical School. Now I'm going to be talking about tips how to kind of associate this type of lifestyle into your lifestyle now. So now I'm going to be talking about the Mediterranean diet and the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. They talked about the benefits of the Mediterranean diet and how you can associate it in your lifestyle now. I know a lot of people have heard about how it's really heart healthy and protects you from cancer and you live longer from this, but they provided 5 tips on the Mediterranean diet and how to associate it in your lifestyle now. They talked about having a strong base which fruits and vegetables and whole grains, is the foundation of man trained diet. It's a plant-based diet that has limitations on red meats and moderate amounts of white meat, poultry, and fish. And they showed that you can actually include having pasta with vegetables, minestrone soup, stir-fried vegetables over brown rice, and how you can. It's very simple. Read up the eatright.org for more benefits. Getting friendly with your beans. So instead of having red meats, poultry, and fish, they mostly emphasize the amount of beans. Beans is very low in fat, high amounts of protein, good in fiber, has vitamins and minerals that you can see in meats as well too. But the main thing is that it's low in fat and doesn't provide a risk benefit to heart disease too. And they wanted to opt out for seafood. So seafood plays a big role in the man trained diet. It's the top source of brain and heart-friendly omega-3 fatty acids, monounsaturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, compared to red meats that don't provide that as much. But they wanted to show you tips that you can cook this easily. Fish is easier to cook. It takes a short amount of time to cook compared to red meats. And it's perfect to have it in quick meals. Having like a shrimp over pasta marinade, you have tuna stir fried in whole wheat bread, and they can show that having seafood as one of the main components in the man trained diet is very important to include. Number 4, they talked about losing the fat phobia. So there is a high amounts of unsaturated fats, monounsaturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, and they put an emphasis on olive oil, nuts, seeds as an important part of the man trained diet. They showed that making the change from butter to olive oil, there is a benefit to it because you can cook healthier with olive oil compared to butter, and they showed that you can actually show tips on how to include that, and they show that you can have your kids or having your grandparents or having your parents, your parents associate this into their diets is easy. It's very simple. And last, dip it, which is actually a phrase that they use because you can actually get your vegetables, your one source or your one serving of vegetables with a dip like hummus. They talked about yogurt dips. They talk about baba ganoush, which is an eggplant with sesame, and they show that it's very simple to include this. Having these tips along with them is very important to associate with a man trained diet. So build a strong base. Getting friendly with your beans, switching the red meats and the poultry for fish. They talk about losing the fear of fats, and they talked about dipping your one source of vegetables with hummus, with chickpeas, with yogurt dip or baba ganoush, which is a type of eggplant with sesame. And this is all from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. So I think it's really important to associate everything I just talked about. So in closing, I talked about the founder of it, who made this popular, who was the main reason why we have this type of lifestyle in America. They talked about association with heart disease and the man trained diet, showing that there's not a high prevalence of heart attacks, strokes with a man trained lifestyle. Talked about the main components of it, talked about the top 10 deaths and how man trained diet can improve 9 out of 10 deaths in the older adult population. I talked about the 2 research studies that talked about the heart healthy diet and trying to compare it to statin therapy to prevent heart attacks and strokes, and talked about the Harvard Medical School and how the man trained diet associates with brain health. So guys, thank you so much for watching Eating Healthy with Robert Coit. I just talked about the man trained diet and how you guys can associate it in your lifestyle now, showing you the benefits of it compared to cardiovascular disease, diabetes type 2, the strokes, the COPD, mental health, and it's very easy to associate it. Visit eatright.org, get more tips on it. I'm also doing grocery store tours at grocery outlet every 2 weeks or every week, depending on my schedule. Please feel free to follow me on Facebook. It's really important that I get you guys support on this because I am trying to create a healthy foundation for Turlock, and your support is greatly appreciated. So thank you guys again so much for watching Eating Healthy with Robert Coit. Hope to see you guys soon. You guys are more than welcome to email me at adoptedrdnfarmer@gmail.com. Thanks again. Bye.